The cold night breeze, the half-hidden moon, and the senses of an assassin all whisper the same thing. Leon, the leader of the Shadows, an organization of assassins, was applauded by his master, Sir Robert Deruth, for doing a good job as the leader of the assassins. Leon has been told by his colleagues that he would be killed that night by Deruth, who happens to be his master. You have performed well as the Shadows' chief. Thanks to your works in the shadows, the family has been growing faster in power. Deruth said, commending Leon. I am just doing what should be done, Leon said as he takes a low bow before his master. Deruth asked if he ever thinks that an assassin and a member of the Shadow needs freedom. Leon answered that as assassins and members of the Shadows, they are expected to follow their master's order, and they are expected to do away with their own thoughts, feelings, or mind. Deruth said that he was glad that Leon was well versed with the rules of the Shadows. Then, why did you act on your own? Why did you undo your own brainwashing? Deruth asked, expecting an answer from the dumbfounded Leon. Leon wondered how his master got to know that he was acting on his own and that he had undo his own brainwashing. Brainwashing is a method used by the Roberts family in controlling their assassination organization called Shadow. They kidnap or buy children and make them work as assassins, doing dirty and wicked jobs for their entire lives, for the sake of Robert's family. Leon was brainwashed, but by coincidence, he freed myself from the chains of the brainwash. But now, he was surprised that his master knew that he had freed myself from the brainwash. How did you know? Leon asked, raising up his head a little. You and other assassins have two collars. The first is brainwashing and the second is, Deruth replied as he flicked his fingers and a wave of magical energy hit Leon on his chest. What is this pain? It feels like my heart has been sawed into halves, Leon said, groaning in pain. It is called the rage worm. There is an insect in your body, eating away your heart. At my command, Deruth explained. Leon was angry when he got to know that they were been fed with rage worms, even after been brainwashed. He was annoyed with the fact that his master only pretends to be a fair and righteous man. Deruth explained that every man wears a mask, only that his own mask appeared to be thicker than that of the others. He said that Leon had to die, since he had undone his brainwashing. Leon was kidnapped many years ago. He was raised as an assassin and a hunting dog for the Roberts family. As the head of the Shadow, he lived without emotions, wills, or thoughts of his own. But one day, he coincidentally learned a breathing technique called Fire's Ring. The Fire's Ring technique was a divine skill that belongs to the continent's best and legendary swordsman. Through the Fire Ring's technique, Leon was able to escape the brainwashing. He thought that he had finally gotten the freedom he dreamt of, but he was met with death instead of freedom. What kind of sin did I commit that I have to die such a meaningless death like this? I can't die like this, Leon soliloquized as he groaned in pain. Leon saw that despite his determination to live, he could only manage to live for a few seconds. He knew that he was going to die very soon, but he is determined to avenge himself of his imminent death by taking off his master's arm, or at least inflicting an injury on his master. He stood up to the amazement of Deruth, his master. He summoned courage, and he attacked Deruth. He was able to inflict an injury on one of his master's hand. Deruth was surprised to see that Leon, despite being attacked by the rage worms, could gather some strength and attack him. It has been a long time since Deruth had sustained an injury, not to talk of the injury been inflicted on him by a dying and helpless Leon. He told some of his assassins to dispose the body of their leader. Deruth is considered as one of the strongest in martial arts on the continent. He is strong and I am weak. There is nothing I can do, Leon thought to himself as he was been carried away by the assassins. He regrets that he had to live the life of a hunting dog. He had been manipulated and humiliated while he was alive. He also regrets that he couldn't complete the Fire's Ring technique. He doesn't care whether it will be a god or devil that will come to intervene in his situation. All he wants to is just vengeance. Leon gave up the ghost, a status window appeared, and he was reincarnated. He was reincarnated as a woman's child. With the memories of his past life as an assassin, he had slept for 100 days. The woman whose name was Sylvia carried the young Leon in her hands. She called him Sonny. Sylvia is from a royal family. She is waiting for the patriarch, who is her father, to visit them and give little Leon a wonderful name. Leon had been reincarnated into a wealthy, pretty renowned family. He had been reborn into a powerful family. The rage and the desire for vengeance remain very prominent in the mind of the little Leon. The little Leon still remembered that he had not complete the fire's ring technique. He knew that he had to be patient, as he doesn't have a clue about his present situation. A maid ran towards the woman and called her name. She told her that the patriarch is coming. The patriarch is Lady Sylvia's father. The patriarch arrived at the grand mansion, where Lady Sylvia and the little Leon lived. He was a man with a golden blonde hair and a flame-like red eye. He has the aura of an ice. He is Glenn Zeekhart, the Northern King of Annihilation. "Would you like to hold him in your hands?" Lady Sylvia asked her father. King Glenn collects little Leon from the hands of Lady Sylvia, and he wrapped his own hands around the baby boy. From today onwards, this child's name will be Leon. Like its meaning suggests, live like a shadow, as if you're there, but not there, King Glenn declared. This was exactly the same name that little Leon was given in his past life. Little Leon was happy to always have Lady Sylvia, his new mom, by his side, though he wasn't able to use his magical powers or do anything. But he was glad that he was able to sleep in a separate crib. While in this crib, with the aid of the memories he had in his past life, little Leon tried to practice fire's ring malleability. The continent normal training method uses breathing. In this way, nature's mana is absorbed and it gathers aura in your energy core. But Leon's fire's ring coincidentally make use of a different path. Just like when a mage creates mana's circle, it shapes the heart's ring, grows stamina and physique, increase mental prowess and mana sensitivity. It is the best training technique with the perfect conditions. In order to become one of the best swordsmen, Leon has to use the fire's ring to grow his mentality and body. He also had to make the Zeekhart's swordsmanship mine. Little Leon could sense that his body's mana circuit was filled with freezing energy. 9 places in his body's mana circuit are blocked. He realized that he is going to die if his body's circuits got blocked by the cold. He decides to use the fire's ring in solving his problem. At the same time, he thought that throwing away the pure cold energy is a waste. He thought that he could fuse the cold energy with the fire's flow and circulate it. Little Leon got tired of the exercise and he slept off. The next morning, Leon is seen crawling towards his mother, Lady Sylvia. "My Leon is so good. Let's crawl a little more," Lady Sylvia said happily. "It's tiring playing with you. I have the mind of an adult. Pretending to act like a baby makes me want to kill myself," Leon thought within himself. Lady Sylvia carried little Leon and sang a lullaby to him. Leon thought to himself that enduring the cold energy would be better than for him to have the mind of an adult and be acting like a little child. The Saint of Rags interrupted their mother-to-child's play. Lady Sylvia welcomes the Saint, who said that he came to visit her and her newborn baby. The Saint of Rags possessed divine powers and medical techniques that can reach the ends of the world. Although he is the most famous physician in the continent, but he can't be seen because of his wanderlust. The Saint commented that Lady Sylvia had a cute baby that resembles her mom by having a red eye and blonde hair. Then he holds little Leon up in the air. The Saint asked for baby Leon's name. He was told that the name of the child is Leon. The Saint was surprised that a king could wish to call his grandson by the name Leon, which means shadow. He wondered what could have been on the king's mind that could have made him to name his son Shadow. The Saint decides to take a look at little Leon. He noticed that Leon had a bitter cold curse and his mana energies are being blocked by the ice energy. The Saint advised that Leon needs to be treated urgently if Lady Sylvia wants him to live for a long time. Lady Sylvia couldn't believe her ears. She thought that the Saint was lying. The Saint offered to give her some prescription, but a maid barged in and told the Saint that the patriarch is looking for him and that she was asked to escort him. The Saint told the maid that he will have to finish a conversation before he leaves, but the maid said that the patriarch's demand is urgent. Then the Saint followed the maid. Lady Sylvia vowed to do all that she could do to make Leon get better. Lady Sylvia barged into the royal courtroom, where King Zeekhart, the patriarch, and the Saint were having their discussion. The maids tried to stop her, but she pulled them aside and walked towards the patriarch and the saint. "What is the reason for your rudeness, to have shown this unsightly behavior?" the patriarch asked, looking angry. "I beg you, please save Leon," Lady Sylvia said as she kneels and bow lowly before the patriarch and the saint. Lady Sylvia begs that the patriarch should help in saving Leon's life. She said the child is her everything. The patriarch replied that Leon shows how difficult it is to live as a martial artist. He said that he see no reason why he had to save the life of a child who does not contribute to the family. "He is your grandson, father," Lady Sylvia said. "The grandson you brought home after leaving the family behind," the patriarch replied. The patriarch said that all he could do for Leon is to give him the Sieghart name. He said that Lady Sylvia should be grateful for that. The patriarch told the royal guards to drag his own daughter out of the royal courtroom. "Father, please, I am begging you, please save Leon," she said, crying as she was being dragged out by the royal guards. "You stubborn bastard, is been honest that hard? What are you doing after calling me here to look at your grandson's condition?" the saint asked the patriarch. "Shut up and tell me the details," the patriarch replied as he takes a cup of tea. The saint explained that 9 of Leon's mana circuits are blocked by cold air. He warns that the older he becomes, the more dangerous his condition will become. The saint said that the patriarch's aura had helped to push out the cold air and that Leon will be fine for a while. The saint also said that Leon's chance of being a martial artist is so slim. The patriarch replied that he is fine with that. The saint asked for the reason why the patriarch gave the name Leon to his grandson. Since he knew that the name literally means shadow, he said that the patriarch could have given him some other nice names. The patriarch said that the name Leon has another meaning other than shadow. He said that Leon had another meaning 1,000 years ago. Lady Sylvia gave the medicine she received from the Saint of Rags to the little Leon. She was surprised to see that little Leon endured and ate the bitter medicine. Her maid said that though the medicine will be bitter for any child, she guessed that little Leon took the medicine because he understood his mom's intentions. Little Leon trained for 2 years while taking the medicine. Thanks to the medicine, he was able to make the Ring of Fire in no time. He achieved a 1-star Ring of Fire in 2 years. After playing with Lady Sylvia and Helen, the maid, in the morning, little Leon trains during the nap time and during the midnight till he is now a 5-year-old boy. Until he achieved the 2-star Ring of Fire. At this level, the flames revolves in a cross formation and his mana sense got more active. A maid entered Leon's room and was surprised to see that he had woken up so early in the morning. She asked if she could wash some of his clothes. Leon replied that the maid is permitted to take his clothes. Leon was relieved that the maid could not see his status window. Messages started popping up from the status when he achieved the 2-star Ring of Fire. Leon was bothered that even though he achieved the 2-star Ring of Fire, the bitter cold curse and the low stamina remains. Leon was grateful that he took the fire attribute medicine. He realized that it would have been very hard for him to improve in his trainings. He could also remember that his mother, Lady Sylvia and Helen, their maid and everyone that was close to him had been checking whether he was comfortable or not. Whenever he is hurting anywhere, he was always taken care of like a prince with a lot of influence. Leon sensed that he still had a lot of time, even as a 5-year-old boy. The bitter cold curse and the low stamina issue were the main reason why Leon gets tired easily whenever he walks a little bit. In his past life, as the greatest assassin, he had started learning the greatest malleability technique called the Ring of Fire. He understood that once he completes the Ring of Fire, based on the experiences he had from his past life, those weaknesses would be gone. And once he learnt the Sieghart swordsmanship, he will be able to avenge himself of his untimely death. While he was in his past life, he knew that he had to be patient as he understands that his enemy, Daruth, is one of the strongest martial artists in the continent. He believes that even though the process may be slow, he needs to gain power and accomplish his mission of vengeance. Whenever the opportunity arises, Leon wants to start training, but he was interrupted by his mother, who told him that they would be going to a place that she had already disclosed to him the previous day. "Let's change and get ready to go to the main building," Lady Sylvia said. The powers that maintains the balances of the continent are 6 emperors and 5 demons. Out of all this, Leon was reincarnated in the Zeekhart family, which is the family that belongs to one of the 6 emperors. The 6 emperors demonstrate good influence, while the 5 demons threaten the peace of the continent. There are several other powers outside of those powers as well, and there is a judgment ceremony where one gets to see if those powers are good or bad. It is another time for the Zeekhart judgment ceremony. It is happening for the first time in a new year. I heard that someone outside the direct line will be participating in the judgment ceremony, and I heard that the Lord Charon's 4th son will be participating, and I heard from Sylvia, somebody from the royal family said. Lady Sylvia was seen as an outcast among the members of the royal family. Members of the royal family whispered among themselves that Lady Sylvia's child is an outcast. They said that he inherits the blood of a loser, and he looks sick. They wondered how an outcasts would ever had the opportunity to participate in the judgment ceremony. They don't like to see both Lady Sylvia and Leon. They thought that their attendance make the standard drop. Mother and child seems to be unbothered as they walked amidst hate speech and bad talks directed to them from the members of the direct line of the royal family. Shameless Sylvia, they echoed. It's okay, Leon, just look at Mom, she said, turning to the young Leon, who seems to be curious about what the people from the royal family were saying about him and his mom. The patriarch enters, and he sat on his throne, having make sure that everyone in the royal family is present. The judgment sword appears, and the judgment ceremony began. Lady Sylvia tells Leon to follow her. He doesn't have much expectations. He realized that he needs to find out the manha's attribute that suit his body and the type of attribute that he should cultivate. You saw the other kids do it, right? You need to do the same exact thing, Lady Sylvia said to Leon. I got it, Leon replied. Then he went to stand right in front of the judgment sword. Leon saw demons in golden light flames, and in front of him, he saw a swordsman raising up his sword and holding it with both hands. Then his manha gets activated. Members of the royal family mocked him as they saw that the light of Leon's manha was just able to reach a low point. They start to make jest of him. They said he had no quality and his manha is that of a powerless wight. I guess the god of combat doesn't watch over a runaway child, someone said. It's okay, you did well, Leon, Lady Sylvia said, smiling as she pats Leon. Is he really a descendant of the Zeekharts? I didn't have high expectations, but this is just too much. Did they really have to come here and face such humiliation? Sylvia has guts. I guess the only thing he inherits from the patriarch is his blonde hair and red eyes. The other members of the royal family said all these things as they make jest of Lady Sylvia and her son. Enough, it's too loud in here. The judgment ceremony is over. Leave everyone, the patriarch commanded. The patriarch wondered how Leon's manha level could be so low, though he didn't have much expectations, but he didn't expect Leon's manha to be so low. The patriarch moves towards the judgment sword. He could see the stone sword light, shining like the golden light of the sun. The first Zeekhart patriarch's aura displayed transcendental firepower that could even melt the flames of the demonic realm. Golden manha and golden flames are one-time occurrence throughout the history of the Zeekhart. A manha of dense golden light with blindly beautiful and radiantly shiny flames. Leon, what in the world? The patriarch asked a rhetorical question. Leon plans to reach the 3-star ring of fire. 7 years had already passed since his first judgment ceremony. Now he is a 21-year-old. It has been 7 years after the judgment ceremony. With consistent trainings, Leon is very close to becoming a 3 fires ring achiever. Leon could have had a quicker progress if he had been able to deal with the cold. But luckily his tolerance for water attributes increased to the 2-star level, so the coldness in his body disappeared. It is still hard for him to move around, but he had gotten much better than before. He thought that he could start the physical training also. Lady Sylvia came to remind Leon that he had to prepare for the judgment ceremony. Leon remembered that he will have to meet the annoying people from the royal family, who spoke cruel words, mocked him and his mom, Lady Sylvia. The judgment ceremony was so brief, it ended earlier than expected. Leon Zeekart, I am sure you have received orders to attend basic trainings. Why have you not sent a response for an entire month? The Patriarch asked, looking towards Leon's direction. Leon was surprised that the Patriarch was talking about him attending a basic training. While he was thinking of what to say, Lady Sylvia told the Patriarch that Leon is different from the other children because he had too much cold energy in his body, which may make it difficult for him to endure the training. The Patriarch refused to exempt Leon from the basic training. He believes that Leon is expected to give his best and get trained. Lady Sylvia said that she cannot accept her father's decision. She asked the Patriarch to at least give her and Leon a little bit of time. Then you will have to leave the family again with that child. On this land, you must live as a Zeekart. If you don't want to live like a Zeekart, then leave right now. The Patriarch replied sternly. The royal family members continue to insult Lady Sylvia. They say among themselves that she looks so pathetic. Leon got to know why her mother, Lady Sylvia, had been treated so poorly. Lady Sylvia had learned martial arts, but she has no aura. After breaking her own energy core and mana circuit, she left the family to marry Leon's father. But Leon's father died during her pregnancy. This made her to come back home. As a direct lineage, who had left on her own and came back crawling, was treated poorly, just as the people believed. Leon could not watch the Patriarch humiliate his mom. He walked up to the Patriarch amidst calls and shouts from his mom and maid, who were telling him to come back. Leon stood bodily before the Patriarch, and he said that he will start attending the training the next month, just as he was told to do. The Martial Hall Master told him that even though it is going to be a basic training, it is not something Leon could endure as someone who had his mana circuits blocked by cold energy. He advised him to give up on the training. Leon replied that he will live up to the Zeekart name by attending the training. Living up to the Zeekart name, do you know the kind of heavy weights that those words carried? The Patriarch said as he raised up from the throne, unleashing his aura. Leon looked like his heart had been crushed. He wondered why the mere look of a Patriarch do so much harm to him. Leon recognized that the Patriarch was more powerful than the enemy he had in his past life. Patriarch, Leon is still a young child. He doesn't know what he has said, Lady Sylvia said apologetically. The Martial Hall Master told the Patriarch to withdraw his anger and stop unleashing his aura against the young Leon, but the Patriarch would not listen to him. Lady Sylvia stayed close to Leon, and she tries to shed him from the Patriarch's aura. She pleaded with her father to stop unleashing his aura. Leon remembered that he had been an assassin in his past life. He lived in the shadows and was always closer to death than life and had never stepped out of the darkness. But now, he is no longer Leon the assassin, but Leon Zeekart. He had to bring his mom back to her original position. Leon said that since he was raised in a separate building of the residence, he would like to know how powerful and high in societal rank the Zeekart family could be. He hoped to achieve this through the trainings. Leon had a change of mind. He wants to protect his mom and help her to regain her rightful position. He wants to make the people that are precious to him happy. Do you mean that you want to judge Zeekart's standard through training? The Patriarch asked. That is the only choice that I have, Leon replied. The Patriarch said he will honor Leon's request and inform the instructor of his intention to attend the basic training. Leon was the best assassin in his past life. Having learned the Fire's Ring and a legend of the continent, he sensed that he could be a prominent figure in the Zeekart family if he could utilize both abilities. Karun Zeekart, the intermediate Martial Hall Master, was asking questions about Leon's health conditions from his servant. The servant told him that many maids were there when the Patriarch and the Saint of Rags were discussing about Leon's health. Karun was surprised to see that Leon could survive the Patriarch's aura, despite the fact that he was too weak to move and even had a bad health condition. He thought that it may be that the talented Lady Sylvia could have given some protective powers to Leon. He ordered his servant to put a maid in Lady Sylvia and Leon's residence. The maid is to report everything that goes on in the building. The Patriarch went to the Zeekart 5th Training Hall. He met Limer Diaz, a brilliant swordsman and the head instructor of the Martial Hall. He often pretends to be asleep. The patriarch discovered the tricks of Limer, and he asked him to stop pretending to be asleep and wake up. He commends the patriarch for his discovering his sleeping techniques. The patriarch asked Limer that why would he, as the head instructor, be resting, while the other instructors are working hard. He explained that they're just following his orders. He said that he works with his head, while the instructors work with their bodies. The patriarch admits that the head of the instructor has not changed even after 50 years. Limer answered that people don't change easily. He asked the patriarch if his reason for being in the 5th training hall was because of his youngest grandson. Limer said that Lady Sylvia came to the training hall and pleaded with him that he should make sure that Leon does not get injured. Limer said that the patriarch would be wasting his time if he had come to make the same request. Limer reminds the patriarch that he had once declared that he won't interfere with the 5th training hall. Limer said that he wouldn't exempt Leon from any rigorous training activities, even though he knew that Leon is the patriarch's youngest grandson. The patriarch told him to do as he had wished. He told him not to lessen the intensity of the training. He said that he doesn't want Leon to be a weakling. "Oh wow, you must have loved your grandson more than I thought. You are projecting the love you couldn't give to Sylvia to that child," Limer said, smiling. "If not that you are my veteran friend, your head would have been rolling on the floor right now," the patriarch replied sternly. The patriarch instructs Limer not to go easy with Leon or anyone. He told him to fail those who are unworthy, so that the worthy ones will be able to receive the trainings. "Then, I will do as I wish," Limer said. The patriarch told him to do whatever he wants. Then he leaves the training hall. Leon is now a 3-star level achiever. His sense had become more active. His mind becomes more alert and clearer than before, and he is getting more flexible as his magical status window helps to quicken the growth process. The Z-Cart's training is known for its difficulty. Being a 3-star level achiever is Leon's first step towards surviving the training process. However, he needs to build a good foundation in martial arts in order to stand tall and survive. He needs to excel above everyone else so that all the guys that mocked him will be able to keep their mouths shut. After that, he would avenge himself and kill the enemy in his past life. Robert Deruth, the Heavenly Sword Saint. He was thinking about all these things when Lady Sylvia entered his room. She informed him that he would be going to the training hall the next day. Lady Sylvia said she wants to have a mother-to-child discussion with Leon. She told him that she wants him to attend the basic training school, but she also wants him to wait for a year before attending the training school. Lady Sylvia told him that he is to be careful not to express his feelings whenever he is feeling bad. She said she wished that he could postpone his decision to attend the basic training school for just a year. Leon replied that he could not stand it whenever someone of the direct and the indirect bloodlines make disgusting face in front of him and Lady Sylvia. He said that he couldn't stand all the insults directed at he and Lady Sylvia. Leon believes that he won't receive such ill treatment anymore if he could perform very well in training. Lady Sylvia replied that she knew that the reason why they lived separate and the reason why people spoke bad things about them might look strange to Leon. She said she coincidentally fell in love with Leon's father during a mission, but she finds it difficult to be with him since he was just a normal knight, so she had to shut down her energy core, mana circuits, and then leave the family to be with the love of her life. She said that Leon had an older sister who was 2 years older than him. She said they were living a peaceful life until the Eden executives ambushed them. She said that Leon's father wasn't that powerful and she was pregnant with baby Leon in her belly at that time. There was nothing they could do against them. Thankfully, Leon's father hired some guards without Sylvia knowing about it. The guards were far from them, so they arrived late, but by then Leon's father and sister had died already. Lady Sylvia was confused and she didn't know what to do, so she decides to return to the family. She said that her return to the family after a long time made the royal family to treat her like a sinner, and she can't really say anything against it. She said people thought that she was a selfish person who threw away responsibilities in the name of love and coming back and crawling to be saved. Leon understood why the family treats her mom so badly. However, he remembered that she was the first person who showed affection and gave him a new life. Leon reminds himself that Lady Sylvia is a mother that he had in both phases of his life. Leon asked if his mother would like to go back to her former days of living and working for the family. She said that she was satisfied with her past and present life. Leon plans to help his mother regain her position. After that, he thought he would continue to pursue his revenge mission. He decides to check the malleability of the Ring of Fire before he goes to sleep. He was able to summon the Rage Spirit, who promised to help him in the accomplishment of his revenge mission.